It's always so much fun, and I've actually started looking forward to it as well. And we will talk about the headlines, take your questions. If you have questions along the way, let me know. And let's try something different today. If you guys want to jump in, let me know as well. There's a lot going on around us, a lot going on in the world, but a little bit more hope and optimism with the holidays right around the corner. So I was looking at today's the 14th, right? The 14th of December. Well, we are 17 days away from 2021, and we're about what is it, 13, 11 days away from Christmas. Oh my gosh, I still haven't nearly gotten everything done that I wanted to do before the holidays begin. But it just brings us to this realization that this year of 2020 has flown by. It has felt like many traumas often do, where you wake up and not sure where the time went and not sure what happened. But here we are, and we're about to head off into another year. I know my hope, like the hope that so many of you have, is that this next year will be better, will be improved, will be one that is more optimistic and hopeful, and will continue to stay united as we move forward. So that's what's on my mind as we jump into tonight's Sunday Night Live. Are you guys ready for the holidays? Is everyone done with their shopping and all that other good stuff? Let me know if you are. I am very impressed if you are. So that's something that's definitely on my mind, and I'm trying to get to work on. All right, I'm getting a hello from Buffalo, New York. Hello, New York. How are you? And I know many of you joined me from all corners of the world. So if you get a moment, let us know where you're coming in from. I think it's so great to create community and connection and know that we're really all in this together, right? At the end of the day. So I'm seeing requests to join. We'll get to you guys in just a moment. But first, let's jump into a couple of topics. And if you guys want to talk about something else, we'll shift in that direction too. But I know so many of you, at least the headlines, are dominated by talks around the COVID vaccine, right? Is that what you guys are seeing everywhere? Talks about the vaccine. Is the vaccine safe? Is the vaccine effective? Who's going to get the vaccine? Who won't get the vaccine? And I'll be just blatantly honest with you here. I walk a very middle road. I look at pros and cons of every given situation. I don't think some things are completely bad or some things are completely good, but we have to use rationality and science and also just the individuality of each of you to make decisions. And I think we've got to merge those three things. Vaccines right now are being really prioritized. The Pfizer vaccine in particular, they hope to have about 40 million people vaccinated by the end of December. That's 2 weeks. When we think about even before the new year, almost 40 million people will get this vaccine, the COVID vaccine, which is supposed to have a 90% effectiveness rate. The goal is by the end of March to have 100 million people vaccinated. Now, what does that mean for all of us and for each of you? Well, here are a couple of things to think about. Most of those vaccines are first going to go to frontline healthcare workers, and they will go to our assisted living facilities, our nursing homes, those sort of situations in particular. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's actually the people that need it the most. I have two sisters that both work in the hospital setting. One of them might be joining me right now. I think I saw her name pop up, but feel free to jump in if you are on. But two sisters that work in the hospital setting, and actually another study that just came out this past week was talking about how most of the deaths have been from people in the hospital setting. So we want to keep people out of hospitals. We want to keep our healthcare workers safe. If this is going to work and truly has the 90% effectiveness rate, it's not something we need to start tearing apart and ripping apart, and saying this is good or this is bad. Now, for the rest of us, we've talked about this before. COVID-19 is a test of your immune system. So depending on what's going on with you, that's the individuality of this decision, right? Every one of us are different. We have different needs, different genetics, different makeup, different capacities and capabilities to detoxify vaccines. So depending on what your individual situation is and where you fall into the categories of risk groups, that's when that next set of decisions come in. But our healthcare workers, our elderly, those have been the most at-risk populations. I would say the populations after that we've talked about before are the obese. We know that people that have a BMI over 30 have had a tougher time with COVID-19 because there's more inflammation in the body. And we talk about inflammation all the time. So inflammation, remember, is going to wear down your immune response. So the vaccine, something people have talked about, now in the headlines over and over again, it's here. The UK started their vaccination process last week. We will be starting ours. We just got approval on Thursday. So ours more than likely will start in the next week or two, again, with 40 million people. I can't believe that. 40 million people expected to be vaccinated by the end of the month. All right, here's just some stuff I found when I was digging around and trying to look for stuff for myself and for all of you. Some of the things that we're saying is, we talked about the 100 million people, but for the United States to get herd immunity, and do you guys all understand that concept of herd immunity is when enough of us are vaccinated or are mounting an immune response where we can't reinfect others and we ourselves won't get sick. So that's the idea of herd immunity. So anyhow, for the United States to get herd immunity, which would halt the transmission of the deadly virus, the country needs to have about 75 to 80% of the population vaccinated, adding that, this is from, I believe, Dr. Hahn at the FDA, adding that they hope to reach that point between May and June. So again, the next 3 or 4 months, a little iffy for all of us here in the United States. Even for many of you around the world, we just saw that Germany announced a lockdown over the Christmas holidays, right? And England had a modified lockdown that started about a couple weeks ago. So I don't know if we have anybody joining us from Germany, but so curious how your experience is with all of this and how you guys are doing. Feel free to jump in and let us know, because again, we want to learn, right? I think every country can learn from other countries in terms of where we are and how we're doing. Okay, so the Pfizer vaccine itself, which is the one that's going to be used in the United States, is shown to be more than 90% effective in phase 3 clinical trials. It has been vetted by an independent panel of experts who are saying they found no significant side effects and deemed it safe for the general public. There are some reports of low-grade fevers following it, a headache, almost like when you get the flu vaccine, right? You get almost a mild flu-like sort of prodrome, we call it, after getting that vaccine, where you feel like you're about to get the flu, but a day goes by and you bounce back up. So that's sort of what they're seeing with COVID-19 as well. There have been some allergic reactions. There's some iffiness on folks with autoimmune disease. Hopefully we'll see more data and learn more as the weeks kind of play out over the next couple of weeks as more and more people get this particular vaccine. All right, so that's what we have got in the headlines. The headlines were dominated really by this particular topic and this particular report. There's one other study that I found interesting that's not exactly related, but I thought worth bringing up. So we've talked a lot about COVID-19 and the need for vitamin D, right? You guys have heard me talk about that over and over again, how vitamin D deficiency has been linked to worsening inflammation and, of course, worse outcomes with COVID-19, so much so that many conventional folks were recommending vitamin D, C, and zinc as sort of the mainstays of really preventing or helping from an immune system response. Well, vitamin D is playing another role, it's making another peak here, where a study is saying it may play a role in autism disorder. So we haven't been talking about much else other than COVID and the immune system recently, but there is a lot of other stuff going on in medicine. And here, this particular study is referring to the fact that mothers with lower vitamin D seem to have a higher prevalence of children with autism, particularly in boys. And we know we have a higher rate of autism in boys anyways. I find that really interesting, and I think a lot more work is to be done there. But autism is also an immune system disorder. It is also a disease of inflammation. Many of us believe it has its roots in the gut. So it's interesting to see that vitamin D is playing a really important role in this particular disease as well. And this particular study, they are saying, this came out of Queensland. Our research showed that vitamin D deficient male fetuses, an enzyme which breaks down testosterone, was silenced and could be contributing to the presence of high testosterone levels that they are in turn linking to higher rates of autism. So think about this, guys. So many people say, food doesn't matter. What you eat doesn't impact your health, doesn't impact a particular disease. We've got study after study coming out, linking these different nutrients to so many different conditions, so many different chronic conditions that many of you guys deal with day in and day out, or know somebody that's dealing with day in and day out. So the number one thing I want you guys to maybe take away from today is don't accept that. We know that our nutrient status is determining disease. It's determining what the immune system will do. It's determining how inflammation works in our body, and is ultimately sort of the predictor of how so many different parts of us function, down to the quality of our pregnancies and the health of our children, our unborn children. To me, that is mind-boggling. And anyone that steps up and says, "Hey, diet has nothing to do with disease," is really living under a rock or not reading any medical journal that's come out in the last couple of years. So again, just emphasizing your health matters, your wellness matters, what you eat matters. It matters down to not just for you, but for your family and so much more. And this concept of nutrient deficiency ties into my podcast guest. I hope you guys are listening to my podcast. How many of you are on iTunes or Spotify and you're listening to the Dr. Taz Show, the Superwoman Wellness Show? We have so many great guests on there every week, somebody new, talking about a topic that we might have talked about before, but offering a new perspective. So check that out for sure. There are links on Instagram. There's definitely links on my website as well. If you go to drtaz.com, check it out. And by the way, if you review it on Apple, iTunes, or Spotify, you'll get a free bottle of Boost, which is my methylated B vitamin that helps with energy. You just have to email me if you do that to hello@drtaz.com. All right. So we got someone doing the Spotify thing. I hope you're getting a lot out of it. But anyhow, back to the topic. So this particular guest this week, and we'll release that episode soon. I think it's going to come out in a couple of weeks, but was just talking about aging and midlife and how so many people, think that they're getting old and think this is the way they're supposed to feel, and just kind of throw their hands up in the air and don't do much about it. I'm sure you guys know somebody like that, right? Raise your hand if you know somebody who's in that mentality. Well, so much of aging is connected to nutrition and nutrient deficiencies. So much so that around 40, those of you who are around 40, not me, of course, because I'm like 21, right? But those of you who are around 40 should be thinking about a midlife refuel. These are her words, where you literally reboot the entire nutritional system to optimize key nutrients that really make the rest of the body work. So for example, you optimize vitamin D to help your immune system, to prevent inflammation. You optimize vitamin B to help your mood and memory and hormone balance. All of these things make an incredible difference in terms of how the body works, how the body is going to sustain the next 20, 30, 40 years. So a very important concept when it comes to your health, when it comes to fighting illness, when it comes to prevention, when it comes to not aging, and when it comes to simply feeling amazing, feeling powerful, and looking your best. So I thought that one was interesting. That caught my eye. Everything else over the last week was about the vaccine and who to vaccinate, who not to vaccinate, how we feel about the vaccine, any new treatments coming out for COVID-19. Do you guys know anyone who's had COVID, and how have they done? I'm curious. Has everyone had the same sort of media type experience with COVID? We've had a range of people with COVID in the practice, many of whom have gotten it, and it's been incredibly mild, maybe a headache for a day, not feeling so great. Some have dragged it on a little bit more, where they're sick for maybe 7 days or so. And then we've had a much smaller population, typically our older patients or our sicker patients at Center Spring MD, that have had a more serious outcome where they were down and out for a couple of weeks. So again, it's been the range. And I think that's what we've been talking about all along, that it's your immune system, your health that matters, that will determine what your body will do with this particular virus. Okay, let's talk about some other stuff. You guys ready to move on? No other questions for me tonight? Again, I think I saw somebody in from Miami. We had somebody from Colombia. So this is so much fun for me every week, just to see where people are going to join in from. All right, now I know what's really on your mind, the holidays. Everybody have holiday plans? What are you guys doing? Staying home and staying local, staying small? Well, wellness can still happen during the holidays. And so I put together my holiday gift guide. You guys can download this. This is on the website. If you go to the Learn tab, you'll see the holiday guide there, along with all the other guides we've been pumping out this year. But this is partly for me as much as it is for you guys, because I get to gift giving time and I go blank. Do any of you guys do that too? You'll see something you really like and you're like, wait, what was that? What was I going to get? So I'm hoping this is helpful for everyone. So it has gifts for her, gifts for him, gifts for the fitness buff, gifts for your child, and even gifts that are more home centered, but all around that idea of, hey, maybe I wanted, this wellness gadget or this wellness subscription, but didn't want to do it throughout the year. And it's holiday time. This is something I'm going to ask for, or something I'm going to get for somebody I love. So, for example, meal subscriptions are on here. So, all the cooking, many people are burning out from all the cooking. And if you are, meal subscriptions sometimes are a nice, easy little hack to have in mind and create some variety in the different recipes you're doing. Essential oil kits, smoothie subscriptions. Did you guys know that was the thing where you can actually get your smoothies delivered to you, so you're not doing all the chopping and grinding every morning? Of course, spa stuff always works for women. And then DNA testing to match your genetics to your health risk and other risks that you might have. And then all kinds of fun fitness things to help your children concentrate, gadgets to make your home gym even more effective. All of it right here in my holiday gift guide. Check it out when you have a moment. Go to drtaz.com. It's on the Learn tab, and you can download it, use it for somebody that you love. And there are some specials and deals with some of the products as well, but there's so many in here that it's really byproduct. So check that out and see if there's something there that you could get for somebody that you love. All right. And we are also doing 12 days of giveaways. Have you guys seen that on Instagram? So make sure you're keeping your eye out for that. You have to tag 3 friends, make sure they follow, and we announce a winner every single day. So I think today is day 3. So we've still got a lot more to give away. So keep joining us for those. And again, sharing all this amazing wellness loot that we know is going to help you and really push the needle forward when it comes to really changing how we think about health and what is healthy. And then last but certainly not least is the 30-day prayer challenge. I'm pretty serious about this one. How many of you guys are joining me here? We know that 2020 has been globally challenging. It has been a season of gratitude, but also a season of trauma, and the two often go hand in hand. We do want to be thankful and grateful for so many of the gifts in our life. I know I am for sure. So many things have become clear to me, and I've been able to get rid of a lot of things that needed to change or shift, but at the same time, make room for things that needed more time and energy and space. So I look on 2020 with fondness and with gratitude, but at the same time, don't want to do it again. I think it's been so incredibly traumatic for so many people, and I don't want to see that repeated again. So I'm hopeful that 2021 is where we take the lessons of 2020 and we chart a new path. We chart a new way forward, and we come together and we continue to question things that have been established over time and over centuries, right? Everything from medicine and health to religion and politics. We continue to do that questioning because we really are transitioning into a new time and into a new space where we're supposed to be united, and our consciousness is supposed to not be grounded in ego, but really in the good of all and the protection of the planet. So that is where we are headed in 2021. And we're going to be on the forefront of that and making sure we're prepared for that, and make sure we pull along the lessons of 2020 as we move into 2021 to make this coming up year a year of blessings and not of regret, of healing and hope, and not of fighting and tearing one another down. So that is why this prayer challenge is there. And I'm encouraging you guys to send me your prayers. It can be any faith, it can be any prayer that you love, but send it to me and I will put it up there. But we are on, I think it's day 12 or day 13 right now, a little bit short of halfway through this, but I think it's so important to walk into this new year cleaning the slate, so to speak, shifting the energy, and really hoping for the best for all of us. My son actually said something really interesting to me. They've got exams next week. You've seen me post about that. So I've been in it with them and trying to help them, and feel like I'm in middle school again. I've been doing all kinds of things like in understanding phases of the moon and, whatever. I won't bore you with all those details, but he did say something interesting. He said that there have been, and I'm probably going to mess it up, so if any of you are science teachers, I'm sorry, but he said that there have been 5 major mass extinctions in the history of the planet. We're in the 6th, and most of the extinctions take over 1 million years. Ours has been sped up to tens of thousands of years because of the way we live and because of the health of the planet and of us. And the two are connected, right? So going into 2021, we want to heal ourselves, we want to heal our communities, we want to heal our families, we want to heal the planet. The two are not isolated topics, they're totally tied together. This is something that I see over and over again, and I've been thinking a lot about it. I talked to you guys, we just had a conversation about nutrients, right? Nutrients and nutrient deficiencies. But what are you going to do when the quality of your food and your soil doesn't have the nutrient levels that it's supposed to have, even when you're trying to make the best choices? So this is where our soil, our water, our climate, our air, all of these things are so important to pay attention to. So anyhow, not to go down that soapbox, but it is a time for healing. It is a time to usher in healing. And I invite you all to join me in that path, because that's very much where my heart and my focus will be centered on as we hit the year ahead. All right. Speaking of which, let's end with a quote. Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I hope you guys enjoy this edition of Sunday Night Live with me. Remember, for the week ahead, we've got podcast that we'll have a brand new episode on Wednesday. You can rate and review it. We'll have another live on Friday with a special guest, another Superwoman Spotlight. Looking forward to that as well. And then the 12 days of giveaways continue as we all scramble to get our holiday shopping done. Have a great week. I will talk to you guys soon. Stay healthy, stay well, and stay superpowered.